see you there. My name's Christina Stevenson. I've written and illustrated a series of stories about a bold, brave little knight called Sir Charlie Stinky Socks. And if you listen carefully, you'll hear his cat, Envelope. We're going to read the first story today, which is called The Really Big Adventure. And I'm going to ask you to help me with some actions and some sound effects. Don't worry, I'll tell you what to do. Okay, ready? This story takes place in a deep, dark forest where monstrous trees groan. So put your hands up like this and be a monstrous tree and groan in the wind. Fantastic. Also in the forest, there are some terrible beasties that moan. So let's see you being moaning beasties. Whoa, whoa. Come on, a bit louder. Whoa. Fantastic. We've got wiggly woos in this forest. So if I mention the wiggly woos, can you get your hands and go? Let's hear you. Perfect. In the middle of the forest, there is a tall, tall tower with a pointy roof. You can see it. Can you see it in the book there? But I want you to be the tall, tall tower with the pointy roof. So you get your hands like this and you say, tall, tall tower with a pointy roof. Let's try again. The tall, tall tower with a pointy roof. Remember to do that. There's a big wooden door at the bottom of the tower with a big creak. So there's the big wooden door and let's push it open with a big creak. Brilliant. At the top of the tower, there's a little wooden door and that has a little creak when you push it open. So let's hear the little creak. Perfect. Inside the tower is a windy, windy staircase and there's the windy, windy staircase in the book, but I want you to get your finger and I want you to do a windy, windy staircase like this. Windy, windy staircase. One more time. Windy, windy staircase. Fantastic. We're almost ready. But there's a witch in my story. She's a wily witch with a watch. Lots of lovely wah sounds. That's her watch there, but it's not a real watch. So what I want you to do is be the watch for me. So when I mention the wily witch with the watch, can you all go tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock? Can I hear you? Tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. Perfect, you are so good at this. I think we're ready to tell the story. Are you ready? All right, let's begin. Sir Charlie Stinky Socks, The Really Big Adventure by me, Christina Stevenson. Once upon a time, there was a deep, dark forest where monstrous trees groaned. Ooh. Terrible beasties moaned. Roar. And wiggly woos waited to tickle your toes. In the middle of the forest, surrounded by thorny bushes, there stood a tall, tall tower with a pointy roof. At the bottom of the tower was a big wooden door. Inside the tower, a windy, windy staircase didn't stop winding until it reached a little wooden door right at the very top. And what was behind that little wooden door? Well, nobody knew because nobody ever went there. The end. No, not really. Nobody ever went there, at least not until the day when a bold, brave knight, Sir Charlie Stinky Socks, and his faithful, fearless cat, Envelope, meow, decided that the time had come for a really big adventure. Sir Charlie picked his best sword, he packed some sandwiches, a big bottle of water, and a favourite little something for the journey, just in case. And with a song in his heart, la 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 la, he mounted his good grey mare. Clip, clop, clip, clop, clippity, clippity, clop. Over the hills and far away rode Sir Charlie and his cat. Ooh, and a wily witch with a watch, tick-tock, 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 followed behind on a broom. At last they came to a deep dark forest where monstrous trees groaned. Ooh. Terrible beasties moaned. Roar. Envelope shivered. The good grey mare quivered, while the witch with the watch, tick-tock, 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 covered her eyes. But brave Sir Charlie stood steady in his boots. Shh, he whispered into the woods. 'Tis I, Sir Charlie Stinky Socks, with a song to soothe you. And as Sir Charlie sang his lullaby, la 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 la, the trees stopped groaning. But the terrible beasties went on moaning. Roar, roar. Stop your moaning, cried the knight. Come out and eat me, if you dare. Out of the darkness crept 6 slobbering beasties. Roar. That fearless cat, Envelope, starpered. The good grey mare fled, and even the wily witch with the watch, tick-tock, 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 trembled behind a tree. But bold Sir Charlie did not turn. Brave Sir Charlie did not run. Instead, he drew his trusty sword, and he did what any good knight would do. What do you think he's going to do? He smiled, and he cut up his sandwiches. The beasties stood and stared. They were hairy, hideous creatures indeed. But do you know they were more scared of Sir Charlie Stinky Socks than he was of them? Charlie fed the beasties. And the beasties stopped moaning. And the wily witch with the watch, tick-tock, 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 looked on with a grin. And she checked the time. But this was no way to end a really big adventure. So Sir Charlie Stinky Socks rescued his cat, he rallied his good grey mare, and he set off once again, never minding the wiggly woos who waited in the grass, or the 6 not so terrible beasties who followed him. The forest grew thicker. The bushes became thorny. Lucky for Envelope and the good grey mare that Sir Charlie Stinky Socks led the way with his trusty sword. Whooshety thwack, whooshety thwack, choppity choppity chop. Can you do that with me? Whooshety thwack, whooshety thwack, choppity choppity chop. One more time. Whooshety thwack, whooshety thwack, choppity choppity chop. Whew. It was thirsty work for a bold, brave knight. How glad he was to have a big bottle of water by his side. And at last they came to a clearing in the trees where the sun threw down its pale yellow light onto a tall, tall tower with a pointy roof. And here it is in the book. also threw its light onto a long green dragon. He was frightful and fearsome and coughing out fire as he stomped in a temper around the tower. Roar! Ha ha, thought Sir Charlie Stinky Socks. Just the thing for a really big adventure. Stop your roaring, dragon, he commanded. But the dragon did not stop. He went on coughing out fire. He went on belching out smoke. And now his eyes were fixed firmly on Sir Charlie Stinky Socks. Was this the end of the line for the bold, brave knight? Oh my! Well, Envelope didn't hang around to find out. And neither did the good grey mare. Woo! Only a worried wily witch and a couple of wiggly woos watched. But bold Sir Charlie did not flinch. Brave Sir Charlie did not flicker. He took out his big bottle of water and kind, clever Sir Charlie Stinky Socks gave that old dragon a long, cool drink. Goop, 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 goop. Now you've stopped coughing, said the knight to the long green dragon. Tell me, what's at the top of this tower? The dragon looked up. The dragon looked at Sir Charlie. The dragon scratched his scaly head and he said, My dear old thing, I haven't a clue. It's not a dragon's place to ask, you know. Just to do. Then why don't we find out? Said Sir Charlie with a grin. The wily witch took one last look at her watch. Tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. She jumped for joy, whee! And she flew off on her broom as Sir Charlie pushed open the big wooden door. Up the windy staircase marched Sir Charlie Stinky Socks. He didn't stop marching until he'd taken his faithful cat Envelope, his good grey mare, 6 not so terrible beasties, a very curious long green dragon, and a couple of wiggly woos right to the very top. There he opened the little wooden door and peeped in. What's behind the door? A big black cauldron stood in the middle of the room, and stirring it was the wily witch, of course. By her side sat a little princess, weeping and wailing in a pool of tears. Sir Charlie looked at the princess. Sir Charlie looked at the bubbling pot. Sir Charlie didn't wait another minute. He drew his trusty sword and he bounded over to rescue the little princess. Stop your weeping, cried the knight. Sir Charlie Stinky Socks is here to save you from the pot. The witch cackled with laughter. squealed the witch. I'm cooking the food for her birthday party. It's today at 3, you see. I do it every year, you know. I blow up balloons and decorate the tower. I send out invitations. Hundreds of them. And looky here, she cried, tip-tapping at the face of her watch. It's nearly 3. Yippee! Then why are you crying, Princess? Asked Sir Charlie. Because, shrieked the princess, we live at the top of a windy, windy staircase in a tall, tall tower with a pointy roof surrounded by thorns and guarded by a fire-breathing dragon. And it's in the middle of a deep, dark forest where wiggly woos wait in the grass to tickle your toes. Hungry beasties moan and monstrous trees groan. So nobody ever comes. Oh, yes, they do, said Sir Charlie as he flung open the door. Behold, Sir Charlie Stinky Socks and his friends. Whee! Sir Charlie's brought all his friends to the party. That night, the lights burned brightly in the tall, tall tower with the pointy roof as a happy little princess had a rip-roaring good time. When the candles had been blown out, everybody blow out the candles on the cake. No, there's still one lit. Fantastic. When the candles had been blown out and the cake eaten up, yum, 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 yum. So Charlie Stinky Socks took out the favourite little something he'd brought from home, just in case, and he gave it to the princess. Many happy returns of the day, he said, and everyone cheered. Hooray! 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 Because that's what people do at the end of a really big adventure. The